everybody, my name is Sam. Today I want to tell you about my journey with my 2006 Mustang drift car. I've had this car for about a year and a half now, and I wanted to share my experience of getting it drift ready, sliding it around a little bit, and what that's looked like and if it's worth it for you to do. Alright, so why buy an S197 Mustang for drifting? Well, to start off, they are extremely budget friendly, both to purchase and as far as aftermarket goes. They usually do come in around a few $1,000s cheaper than most other drift cars in the same class, so 350Zs, a little bit more expensive is 240s, and these do often come in quite a bit cheaper, making similar power to those cars. As well as the aftermarket, they have insane aftermarket support. There was about 750,000 of these sold from 2005 to 2009, which allowed for a lot of time and a lot of people to want aftermarket. So their aftermarket support is quite incredible compared to a lot of other cars I've seen. And moving on to the powertrain, these do, like I said, make around 300 horsepower out of the box, which is plenty to slide a car around. And if you do just a few simple modifications like suspension, exhaust, intake tune, they do put down the power and are a good time to take out to a track or even just have some fun around your area. Along with being affordable, these cars are surprisingly reliable. They often make it to 200,000 miles with minimal issues. Of course, that isn't being tracked or drifted, but that is an impressive amount of miles from a V8 manual car. Now onto the negatives. There are two main things here that I would like to bring up. The first is the transmission. These transmissions are known for getting second and third gear lockout, which is quite unfortunate. However, like I was saying earlier, with how many of these were sold, around 750,000, it isn't hard to find a replacement transmission, and there is a lot of companies that do rebuild the transmissions with better parts, although that can of course get pretty expensive if you're going through transmissions often. And second, a problem for drifting is that they do have a solid rear axle, so it's basically the rear end of a truck, which can make these cars a little bit harder to get the hang of, and you don't get as much adjustability in the rear suspension as you would a independent rear axle vehicle. However, I find that for a beginner drift car or first drift car kind of situation, that typically isn't a problem. It does make it a little bit more challenging and can cap your skill ceiling when you get more serious. However, I think that for a first car, this is a solid choice. So now, what have I done to my car? Well, when I first got it, the first things I did were, of course, an intake, a tune, and an axle back exhaust. And then after that, I did replace the suspension with BC Racing coilovers. I did choose that brand because it was recommended to me by quite a few people, as well as this car did feel extremely boaty. Anytime I took a turn, it felt like I was sailing the high seas. And after replacing the coilovers and wheels, I realized I probably didn't want my engine blowing up on me. So I then did an oil cooler as well as an oil pressure sensor and a oil temp sensor. After that, I did experiment with drifting the car more and found another issue. The limited slip differential was giving out. The clutch packs didn't seem to be what they used to, and they would lock up or unlock randomly while sliding or just daily driving the car. So I replaced the limited slip differential with a spool differential, and that has been very consistent and very reliable thus far. And the last thing I did, which surprised me the most, was installing a bucket seat. It's incredible just how much of a difference this made for me. And now you're all caught up on the car. So what are the plans going forward? Well, right now I do think the car is ready enough to go to the track here in Utah. I do want to take it to some events, get a feel for the car better, get a little bit more comfortable with my driving, and then I do want to install a hydro e-brake. That is kind of the final thing that I think I need to have the car ready to go. And after that, I will be doing more to the car. I'm not exactly sure what yet, maybe some more power mods, cams, that kind of thing, but only time will tell on what that brings for us. Alright, thank you for watching the video today. If you have any suggestions or questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you made it this far and you would consider subscribing, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one.